Well, hello everybody. I want to do this live. I made a deal with Benjamin Ebley back in January 6th. We've been doing a lot of research on annexation, the 50 states of the Union, and we had this portion when I got back to Ontario for my Christmas holidays. We went through a number of love-hate scenarios. Ben knows it very well. I didn't go very far into the hate, and Ben's tagged because he did as well too, and that's the history of Texas, the common law precedent for Canada in the Trump narrative. Now, I gave everybody a part one, but that's on the love side, which we wanted to see. Still don't have an accountant. I don't see the party activating in time. I think that's over. I go on Friday for a news interview. And I think things are going to kind of die off until Canadians realize what they're up against here. So this is the hate side. I've been giving everybody the love side of Canada, the 51st state. Somehow we could convince Canadians to get on board, but they're not. They're not in a large way. And Donald J. Trump today dropped the hammer, a hammer that's not going to be lifted. There's no amount of money, as I stated earlier, Canada can come up with to satisfy that. Not without tripling our taxes or reducing all our services by 33%. Most won't be able to handle this, and it's going to come in the coming years. And folks, I get into Texas because there's a whole hate side to Texas. Texas after statehood. So the struggle to get to statehood, begging, and then there's the 10 years after statehood. And we're going to show you what Donald J. Trump has in store for all of Canada like nobody can imagine. And I promised Ben, we both promised each other, that if we weren't successful by the time Donald Trump dropped the massive sanctions into trade embargoes, when those were reality and he wasn't going to turn back, aka he saw a majority Canadians flip to either autocratic regime, regardless of criminality, when he knew in his test, which we didn't pass the 51st state test. I failed, Ben failed too. It's we're not failed, we're going to keep going. It's maybe not the word, but we failed in the love approach. The option of love or hate. We've lost the love, we're on the hate side. So a lot of things change, and I'm going to go through all of that right now. So without further ado, we're going to go into these. We both agreed that if it got to this point, we would do this. So we're going to give it to you the hate side. So here I give you a map of Canada on the globe. Donald J. Trump standing on Canada. And you have two scales. You have hate or you have love. And of course, you see the scale went down on the overwhelming weight of hate. And this is the path forward. It's known as the hard way. Canada's not the first one to take the hate path. We don't need you. We're going to refuse USA's offer. We're going to show you. So I'm going to show you the entire other side of this analysis. So I want you all to see, you guys recognize Texas, don't you? Or did you not know? That's not, the Texas we know today was not the independent state of Texas. It was a country that included all the brown portions of Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, all of it. And this is 5 years after statehood. because this was the Compromise of 1850. You see, Texas was much bigger. It was its country. It told the United States, we don't need you. In fact, Sam Houston fought for Texas independence. He wanted annexation. He wanted this deal. Texans said, no, we're going to kick all the Indians off, everybody off who doesn't go with our program. We have the world. We have all these resources in the country of Texas. Resources, resources, resources. They were a Spanish colonized area that got independence through violence, actually from Sam Houston, the general, who was American and came there to help, but it was on the condition of annexation. Texans quickly turned on him. No, 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 we're a country now. We're powerful. We have so many resources. We don't need USA. We don't need anybody. All we have to do is build trade, take our mighty resources, and we'll trade them out onto the world. Of course, that didn't work out for Texas. They found out that you needed a massive military, that the world treats you different now that you're not part of an empire. You're this small little country with a small population. The world that had been so friendly to them and tell them, yeah, do it, turned on them. And they found out everybody wasn't going to do or trade with them or make it easy. In fact, their ships, their navy got wiped out, wasted, sunken, or seized by all kinds of other countries in the world, big empires. And Texas was bankrupt. They borrowed a lot of money from USA, who said, okay, don't want to join us? Okay, you need money, we'll lend you money. Okay. And of course, nothing worked out. They bankrupted themselves in short time, and then they started begging for statehood. And USA held them back, and then in 1845, they granted them statehood dollar for dollar, but they had a mighty debt, and now that debt was dollar for dollar too. It took all the way to 1850 before they gave up territory in order for the Union to satisfy the debts. They lost, like Ukraine faces with Russia. Texas lost more than 33% of its territory. 33% of its original territory. Just to get into the Union. Just to get in. What they were offered before at 100%, the love way, they rejected it. So USA did take them in 45, made them wait a full 5 years in utter poverty, with nothing, no economy, bankrupt. You can imagine what life would have been like that. And their only alternative was to cede to many other states already in the Union 33% of Texas. And you see the Texas today, a much smaller Texas than it was back then, as its own nation. So why am I bringing that up? Well, folks, because this is Canada, the new 51st state, now that we're on the path of hate. You've seen me talk about this. You've seen Donald Trump talk about his upcoming meetings with Charles. I've told you how Canada unilaterally canceled all kinds of American-UK treaties. Well, there's something I know a lot about in my family history, and right down southern Alberta there, in Treaty 7, and all the way across the overlap, and all through Saskatchewan, all the way to the Lake of the Woods, as you can see, that will be going to USA. It will be part of Montana, North Dakota expansion. Then you see all currently of what's upper and lower Canada. These will become parts of Illinois, Pennsylvania, New York, and the New England expansion of Atlantic Canada. Facts. And everyone's going to say, no. And then, of course, the Washington expansion, Point Roberts, and all of that corner section, all of that down goes to Washington expansion. And everyone's going to say, no, 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 just like Texas, because today we're tough. Today we're Team Canada, like Team Texas 200 years ago, who said all the same arguments you all say that, nope, they don't need USA. We're going to build now across the provinces massive infrastructure, spending hundreds, if not trillions of dollars in rapid time to deliver our resources out to the coast. And the world is going to give little Canada everything they want with no military. You're not going to have any trouble trading your stuff going around the USA because you're Canada. You're special on the world. And unfortunately, you're going to find out that all the money that your politicians waste, just like they did in those years in Texas, by 2035, from what's coming soon this year, and what your politicians, you're going to have an election. You're going to see a massive majority prime minister who promised you the world. They're going to deliver you flat, just like Lamar did for the Texans. And you're going to see them borrow, deflating the money. Money starts going down until the point we can't pay our overwhelming debts we already owe the United States, because our currency will be low and we won't have established any trading partners. In fact, they're not going to do all those things they said. They're going to veto us. They're not going to give us a fair shake, nowhere near what we're losing in trade with the USA from this day forward, at least April 3rd forward. And Trump isn't going to let it go. It's going to stay for his whole term, and we're not going to survive a term. So, like Texas, you're going to do all this, and then you're going to want statehood within a few short years. Just like Texas, you're going to start begging after 4 years. You'll have tried Mark Carney or Pierre Poilievre and all the phony baloney premiers, just like it was in Texas. That's a big state. And they couldn't get anything they said done, and they mortgaged literally the entire country, which is what's going to happen to Canada. And then the currency wasn't worth nothing. Because, of course, if you don't have deep trade routes all over the world to make up for USA, your credit score is going to get devalued. And if your country's printing money, like we can expect from Mark Carney or Pierre Poilievre, wouldn't matter who you elected, to be honest. That's what's going to happen. And then USA is going to say, okay, we know you suffered a lot. Let's say they give us statehood after making us plead and beg and making us hold out for another 4 years to teach us a lesson, right? Basically to forcibly decolonize the population, because you couldn't do it in this day and age on your own. Canadians are no different than Texans 200 years ago. You're exactly the same mentality, the same colonized people with all the same rhetoric. So you will approach USA and no problem, they'll say that. They'll even give you dollar for dollar, and you'll think, hey, this is better, now we're making those wages, except for the fact your state now owes a mass amount of money. You all owe a mass amount of money in USD dollar for dollar. And that's going to require a redistricting of Canada. Upwards of a massive portion of Canada, the developed portions of Canada. You can kiss all of that from the Northwest Rebellion, aka Alberta and Saskatchewan, mega chunks. And in fact, those are all your deep wells, your massive Great Lake of natural gas, massive amount of resources and potash that the USA doesn't currently have now, is all going to become part of Montana and North Dakota. Point Rogers and all of that, Washington, like I said. Then you go across and you can see big chunks of Ontario and Quebec all the way through Atlantic Canada, filling up Illinois. So that whole pipeline system will be one for Illinois. Pennsylvania gets a mighty chunk. New York will be massive. And New England will be massive too. It'll be called New England, as it has been. This is the plan. You can go through the War of 1812 all the way up to the treaties of 47. All those talks, all of these will be gone. And then you can even go for the railroads, what they gave up, which was the Northwest Rebellion. Like I said, all of that will be turned over. That will be the agreement with the treaties dissolved, and that will be the condition of Canada begging for statehood in the hate side of things. Just like Texas, to pay off your debts, you'll have to turn over all of that into those separate states. And then this new state of Canada, much smaller, much more to the liking of Congress, Republicans or Democrats, it will be this remaining Canada that will be a state. And you can imagine the population difference, right? Now, this is the redrawing of the remainder of Canada. This would be the 51st state of Canada, negotiated after financial settlements, increasing size and territory of many U.S. states. Fact, this will happen. This is the hate side. And if anyone doesn't believe it, just go look at Texas, because we've officially made our choice like Texas did, and we've gone the path of hate. So this will be your statehood offer on the hate side. The 4 districts, no, more like maybe 2 or 3. It'll be subbed after that, but in regions and territories and by population density, all of that changes dramatically. And of course, it'll be a much smaller populated state, 40% of the population now, so maybe a little bit more. But that's the hate side. And this is deadly accurate. Me and Ben went through this as it really is, and we both agreed that if all failed and we got to this point where we started on the path of hate, that we would release this for everybody. I mean, I hoped we were going to go the path of love, and I gave my presentation on love, but now it's time to take the next step, and I guess that's what got the better of me today. We don't quit, we're going to keep going forward, but it's just important for everybody in statehood that this is how it's likely going to be negotiated when we do get to that point after many years of suffrage. And we can look for a closure in this scenario by 2035 will be the course-corrected Canada and, of course, the expanded new states of the Union of a financial settlement. So thanks, everybody. That's my video. Share, share, share. Know that this is where we're going from here. You're going to see it. You're going to see it with Charles and Donald J. Trump, and you're going to see that over the years. And like I said, Canadians will put up a fight, but mark my words, after all the epic economic failures and the money printing, this is where we're going to end up at the end of that on this new hate cycle that we've started today with the United States of America. So thank you, everybody. It's an adjustment. It's something we're going to have to all go through. That's my video. Share, share, share. Bye now.